3-prong male cord cap is a common electrical connector used to connect appliances and other electrical equipment to a power source. It consists of 3 prongs, 2 flat blades for the hot and neutral conductors, and a rounded or U-shaped prong for the grounding conductor. The grounding prong provides a path for stray electrical current to flow back to the source, helping to prevent electrical shock. The physical design of a 3-prong plug is defined by NEMA standards, specifically NEMA 5.15 for a standard 125 volts, 15 amps plug. The dimensions, materials, and construction are precisely specified to ensure compatibility and safety. Different NEMA configurations exist for different voltage and current ratings. When selecting a 3-prong plug for an application, consider the voltage and current requirements of the equipment being powered, as well as the environmental conditions in which it will be used. Plugs are typically constructed from molded plastic or rubber, with metal prongs made of brass or nickel-plated brass for good conductivity and corrosion resistance. When using a 3-prong plug, it's essential to ensure that the wiring is properly grounded. This means that the grounding conductor in the electrical system is connected to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or metal water pipe, which provides a direct path to earth. Proper grounding helps to minimize the risk of electrical shock and protect equipment from damage due to electrical surges or faults. The 3 prongs are designed to fit snugly into a corresponding electrical outlet. The outlet also has 3 openings to accept the prongs. When the plug is inserted into the outlet, electrical contact is made between the prongs and the conductors in the outlet, allowing electricity to flow to the connected equipment. If a 3-prong plug is damaged or worn, it should be replaced immediately. Damaged plugs can pose a safety hazard and may not provide a reliable electrical connection. It's also important to avoid overloading electrical circuits, as this can cause the wires to overheat and potentially lead to a fire. Always use the correct type of plug for the voltage and current requirements of the equipment being powered, and never attempt to modify a plug to fit into an outlet that it's not designed for. Tampering with electrical plugs can be dangerous and may violate electrical codes. In addition to standard 3-prong plugs, there are also various specialized types of plugs designed for specific applications. For example, there are locking plugs that provide a more secure connection and are less likely to be accidentally disconnected. These are often used in industrial or commercial settings where a reliable electrical connection is critical. There are also weatherproof plugs designed for outdoor use, which are constructed from materials that can withstand exposure to moisture and other environmental elements. These plugs typically have a gasket or seal to prevent water from entering the plug and causing corrosion or electrical shorts. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed guidelines and requirements for the installation and use of electrical plugs and outlets. The NEC covers topics such as grounding, wiring methods, overcurrent protection, and the selection of appropriate electrical components for different applications. Electrical inspectors enforce the NEC to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant with industry standards. When designing electrical systems, it's important to consult the NEC and other relevant standards to ensure that all electrical components, including plugs and outlets, are properly installed and used. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and industry best practices. Staying up to date with the latest NEC requirements is essential for electrical contractors, engineers, and other professionals working in the electrical industry. In many countries, electrical products, including plugs and outlets, are required to be certified by independent testing laboratories such as Underwriters Laboratories, or the Canadian Standards Association, or CSA. These certifications indicate that the products have been tested and meet certain safety standards. Using certified electrical products helps to ensure that they are safe and reliable. When purchasing electrical plugs and outlets, look for products that have been certified by a recognized testing laboratory. This certification mark will typically be displayed on the product packaging or on the product itself. In addition to ensuring safety, using certified electrical products can also help to reduce the risk of liability in the event of an electrical accident or fire. Insurance companies may require the use of certified products in order to provide coverage. The three-prong plug is a fundamental component of modern electrical systems. Understanding its design, function, and safety requirements is essential for anyone working with electricity. By following best practices and adhering to electrical codes and standards, you can help to ensure that electrical systems are safe and reliable. It is important to also consider the amperage and voltage rating of the plug in any application. The amperage rating is the maximum amount of electrical current that the plug can safely carry. The voltage rating is the maximum voltage that the plug can safely handle. It is important to select a plug with an amperage and voltage rating that is appropriate for the application. Using a plug with an inadequate amperage or voltage rating can cause the plug to overheat and potentially lead to a fire. The three-prong plug is a polarized plug, meaning that it can only be inserted into the outlet in one direction. This is to ensure that the hot and neutral wires are connected to the correct terminals. The hot wire is typically black and the neutral wire is typically white. The grounding wire is typically green or bare copper. Connecting the wires to the wrong terminals can create a safety hazard. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician if you are not sure how to wire a three-prong plug. There are many different types of three-prong plugs available on the market. Some plugs are designed for heavy-duty applications, while others are designed for light-duty applications. Some plugs are designed for indoor use, while others are designed for outdoor use. It is important to select a plug that is appropriate for the application. When selecting a three-prong plug, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the amperage rating. Secondly, the voltage rating. Thirdly, the type of application. Fourthly, the environment. Fifthly, the certification. By considering these factors, you can select a three-prong plug that is safe, reliable, and appropriate for your needs. A typical 120 volts, 15 amps plug would be suitable for a lamp or a light-duty appliance. For heavier-duty appliances, such as refrigerators or washing machines, a higher amperage plug, such as a 120 volts, 20 amps plug, may be required. For industrial equipment, even higher amperage and voltage plugs may be needed, such as 208 volts, 30 amps or 480 volts, 50 amps plugs. It is essential to consult the equipment manufacturer's specifications to determine the correct plug type for each application. Never use an adapter to plug a higher amperage appliance into a lower amperage outlet. This can overload the circuit and create a fire hazard. If you need to power a higher amperage appliance in an area with only lower amperage outlets, have a qualified electrician install a new circuit with the appropriate amperage rating. The grounding prong on a three-prong plug is a critical safety feature. It provides a path for electrical current to flow back to the source in the event of a fault, such as a short circuit. This helps to protect people from electrical shock. Never remove or disable the grounding prong on a three-prong plug. If the grounding prong is removed, the appliance will not be properly grounded and could pose a serious safety hazard. If you need to plug a three-prong plug into a two-prong outlet, use an adapter that provides a grounding connection. The adapter should have a wire that connects to a screw on the outlet cover plate. This will provide a grounding path for the appliance. However, it is always best to replace two-prong outlets with three-prong outlets for improved safety. This should be done by a qualified electrician. Electrical safety is paramount when working with three-prong plugs and electrical systems. Always follow these safety precautions. Firstly, never work on electrical systems while they are energized. Turn off the power at the circuit breaker before working on any electrical components. Secondly, use insulated tools when working on electrical systems. Thirdly, wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses and gloves. Fourthly, never work on electrical systems in wet or damp conditions. Fifthly, if you are not qualified to work on electrical systems, hire a qualified electrician. Sixthly, always follow the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and other applicable electrical codes and standards. Seventhly, inspect cords and plugs regularly for damage. Replace any damaged cords or plugs immediately. Eighthly, do not overload electrical circuits. Ninthly, use surge protectors to protect electronic equipment from power surges. Tenthly, install ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in areas where water is present, such as bathrooms and kitchens. These devices will trip the circuit if they detect a ground fault, helping to prevent electrical shock. By following these safety precautions, you can help to ensure that you and others are safe from electrical hazards. The design and implementation of a logo incorporating a 3-prong mail code capture considers several factors to ensure it is visually appealing, technically accurate, and legally compliant. From a visual standpoint, the logo should be easily recognizable and memorable. The 3-prong plug should be depicted clearly with accurate proportions and details. The logo should also be scalable, meaning it should look good at both small and large sizes. Consider using a vector graphics editor to create the logo, as vector graphics can be scaled without losing quality. Technically, the logo should accurately represent the function of a 3-prong plug. The prongs should be positioned correctly, and the overall shape of the plug should be realistic. Avoid using exaggerated or distorted shapes that could confuse viewers. It is also important to consider the colors used in the logo. Choose colors that are visually appealing and that accurately represent the electrical industry. For example, you might use blue to represent electricity or yellow to represent safety. Legally, the logo should not infringe on any existing trademarks or copyrights. Before using the logo, conduct a trademark search to ensure that it is not already in use by another company. It is also important to obtain the necessary licenses for any fonts or graphics used in the logo. Consider consulting with a trademark attorney to ensure that your logo is legally compliant. In addition to these factors, it is also important to consider the target audience for the logo. Who are you trying to reach with your logo? What message do you want to convey? The logo should be designed to appeal to your target audience and to communicate your brand values. For example, if you are targeting electrical contractors, you might want to use a logo that is rugged and professional. If you are targeting homeowners, you might want to use a logo that is more friendly and approachable. The creation of a logo is an iterative process. It may take several attempts to create a logo that is visually appealing, technically accurate, and legally compliant. Be patient and willing to experiment with different designs. Get feedback from others and use it to improve your logo. A well-designed logo can be a valuable asset for any company. It can help to build brand recognition, communicate your brand values, and attract new customers. Therefore, it is important to invest the time and effort necessary to create a logo that is effective and memorable. The 3-prong plug, as a symbol, can represent safety, reliability, and electrical expertise. It can also be used to convey a sense of innovation and technological advancement. When used effectively, a 3-prong plug logo can help to establish your company as a leader in the electrical industry. However, it is important to use the symbol responsibly and to avoid any misrepresentations or false claims. Always be truthful and transparent in your marketing materials. By following these guidelines, you can create a 3-prong plug logo that is both visually appealing and ethically sound. This will help to build trust with your customers and to establish your company as a reputable and reliable provider of electrical services. Remember that a logo is just one part of your overall brand identity. It is important to also develop a strong brand message and to consistently deliver on your brand promises. This will help to create a cohesive and memorable brand experience for your customers.